D-Hunt, Halcyon Digest.
Hello, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I know today I usually do a question of the week, but I didn't think anyone would complain if I did a review of the new Deerhunter instead. Before I start, there's an album over at theneedledrop.com, link down there in the D-box, and you can download it for free. The name of the group is Soft Powers, and the name of the LP is Bad Pop. It's very lo-fi, fuzzy, catchy stuff. Maybe if you're a fan of Ariel Pink, R. Stevie Moore, that kind of thing, you'll dig on it. Just has a nice, fun, self-recorded sound. Alright, this is Deerhunter's fourth studio LP, Halcyon Digest. And if you're not familiar with Deerhunter, they're a band, a Georgia band, who's a part of this new wave or newfound appreciation of my generation for psychedelic music. Their discography, Deerhunter has proven themselves to be experimenters, but they've always managed to keep pretty much most of their albums very welcoming, very immediate. There's a lot of adventure that goes on in their music with strange effects, weird sounds, but they beef that stuff up with just some great songwriting. So you could really enjoy this band for one reason or the other. If you enjoyed Deerhunter's past LP, Microcastle, this will not be too hard of a transition for you, especially if you're into frontman Bradford Cox solo work under the name Atlas Sound, because this LP to me is actually sounding maybe more like a fleshed out full band version of Atlas Sound's last album, Logos. And to go back to Microcastle, although that album did have its quiet moments, its ambient moments, that thing feels like so much more of a rock album for me, especially considering that tracks like Nothing Ever Happened are on that thing. This LP never really gets as distorted or as abrasive as that album. It really lacks the tension for me of Microcastle and even Cryptograms. What little aggression you may have found on Deerhunter's past work is really not here on this LP. However, that's not a bad thing. The band has replaced that feeling with something that is much more easygoing. The tracks here range from being gentle, to being playful, to being blissful. Plus there's some things on here to suggest at least a little bit of a stylistic shift for Deerhunter, like the piano and sax combo on the track Coronado, or the opening groove on the track Revival, or the hook on Desire Lines, or the Everly Brothers-like vocal on Basement Scene. A lot of these tracks scream pop record, but I wouldn't say Deerhunter has lost their taste for experimentation. The noise, the phantom sounds, all that stuff is still here. It's just more condensed and weaved into the songwriting so much more. A lot of the instruments in Deerhunter's previous LPs bleed into each other sonically, kind of making some of them hard to pull apart. That is even more of, I don't want to say an issue, but just the case on Halcyon Digest, which is completely intentional and maybe makes this LP feel a little dirtier than Microcastle in some respects, even in its catchiest moments. A couple songs like the opener, like the fourth track, Sailing, are very repetitive, maybe a little minimal, maybe a little skeletal, and are somewhat dreamy, just wandering, linear sort of. And this is really the only point in time where Deerhunter is kind of just letting everything cast out, not really adhering to a structure. And though these songs may not be the most thrilling pieces of the album, it's still a nice counterpoint from those more straightforward moments. And of course, one other song that fits this bill is the closer, He Would Have Laughed, which everybody is talking about. Everybody's building up a lot of buzz behind this song because Bradford Cox has said that it's actually about Jay Retard. Now you guys know I love Jay. The first album I reviewed on this channel was a Jay album. I own the guy's solo stuff, and I interviewed him once too for the website. However, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm in love with the last song of this LP. It's okay, it starts off with a good groove. I like Bradford Cox's vocal delivery in there, but it just doesn't engage me for the entire 7+ minutes that it lasts. So to kind of sum up here, you've got some very lush production on this release. Some great personality from Bradford Cox coming through on the lyrics, very memorable melodies, very memorable hooks. Plus, this is the most I've ever heard the songs take precedent over the experimentation and the sonic aspects of the album from Deerhunter. My only real gripe's that there were probably 3 tracks that I didn't hate, but just kind of paled in comparison to others. I'm feeling an extremely, extremely strong 8 on this thing. Almost a light 9, but I just enjoyed the hell out of a lot of these tracks. Yeah, a lot. Of course, I'm highly recommending this. I'm putting it on the loved list. And yeah, that's it. Of course, many of you guys have already heard it, and if you have, let me know down there in the comments what you thought of it. What was your favorite track? What was your favorite moment? And what did you think of this LP in context of Deerhunter's previous album? Anthony Fantano, Deerhunter, Halcyon Digest, forever.